You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network. Yo, it's a bright and early morning, guys. I hope y'all ready for a wonderful week. We are in the heart of 2025 because we're already in a new month. It is February. Can you believe it? We're already looking down into the new weeks of the year, and there has not been any letting up. This is February 3rd. It's the first Monday of February. This is Black History Month. It's just so many things that are going on in the parameters of our surroundings, which is why I decided that we wanted to dive into something extremely important that we need to challenge in our own level of capability. And that's rewiring your brain for the success you desire, because this is the ultimate thing. All of us have our own individual desires. We're all on the track to do something that's so significant that it has impacted us enough to know that we want it. And it sits on our heart, it sits on our minds, and we're making a decision to shift toward that thing that we ultimately want. And it could be a multitude of things, which is nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we can be in a redundancy of life. And that can be in our existence and within our homes, within our workplaces, within our friendships, within our family dynamics, within our social settings. And sometimes it's good to kind of alter a little bit, shake it up, do some things that can help to stimulate your day to day to where you can literally hone in more on the things that you want to focus on. And just hear me out. I'm going to share with you a few talking points today that can help jumpstart this process. Because indeed, we all have the capability to do so much more. You know, scientists can't even really wrap around how much we are capable of doing with our brains. But the truth is unlimited. The unlimited amount of opportunities that exist with us and our brains are astounding. And we may never, ever have a true measurement of what our capabilities are. But if we don't take the tests of our brains and challenge our brains and challenge ourselves, who will know? Nobody else is going to take the time to measure it. You know, in school, we were giving different assessments and tests and different, IQ, all these things that were used to try to give the world an understanding of where your brain power lied. You know, what was your comprehension skills? What did your intelligence measure? What was your ability to do this? You know, remember those grade cards we used to get and they had all of the boxes and they were checks and stuff like that? Well, guys, let's check off at this point and transform our brains for the success that we desire. Y'all know what time it is. It's Monday and it's time for Sonny's Money Motivation. Let's go. Welcome to LouddMouth Radio Network. My name is Sonny. As a former professional athlete turned entrepreneur realtor and the producer of LouddMouth Radio Network, I look forward to bringing content to you that empowers, inspires, and entertains you. Tune in each week as we have unscripted and unfiltered talks from entrepreneurship, real estate, politics, entertainment, comedy, LGBTQ topics, day-to-day life, and everything in between. All shows available on demand 24/7 on your favorite podcast platforms.
Portals Entertainment Center is a new 13,000 square foot entertainment experience now open in Temecula. Portals creates a space where your imagination can be set free. Step into an immersive entertainment center that will take visitors into one of our many attractions, which include 2 9-hole indoor mini golf courses, an immersive laser tag arena, a designated arcade space, a food service component, party and event spaces, and a hidden 21 and over lounge. Portals aims to give each visitor a unique experience, taking them to unknown worlds and experiencing an entertainment center like no other. Open 7 days a week, located at 26469 Inez Road in Temecula, California, in between At Home and Temecula Theaters. Come check us out and step into adventure.
Sonny's LouddMouth Comedy presents a night of love, friendship, and laughter. Friday, February 14, 2025. Guys, we are coming back with a fantastic show. Mr. Handsome featured comedian Mr. Drew Edwards, as well as the IE's queen, Nikki Simone. You know this is going to be hosted by no other than Kevin Davis, the Marina Comedy. And yours truly, produced by Sonny, the LouddMouth of Comedy. This is going to be a fantastic date night. Whether you're coming as a single, friends, or coupled up, you will not be disappointed. Get your tickets, louddmouthcomedy.com, LOUDDMOUTH comedy.com. Tickets in advance, $25, $35 at the door. And we do have reserved seating, which I highly suggest. So don't play around, man. Get with your friends, get with your folks, get your tickets. Don't play. I look forward to seeing you guys. And it's going to be going down at Shooter's Bar and Grill, Temecula, 28950 Old Town Front Street. Get your tickets, y'all. See y'all then. I love comedy.
The Breeze Effect is your premier destination for professional in-home wine tastings and mobile wine bar services. Our customized mobile trailer is designed to bring a touch of elegance and sophistication to any event. At Breeze Effect, we believe that every celebration deserves an intimate and unique experience that you and your guests will remember for a lifetime.
Yo, the truth is, we have so much that we're doing that it is not, it shouldn't even feel like we need that there's a reason we need to have this discussion, because as humans, we have so much responsibility for ourselves. And if you're responsible for other people, it just layers on top of that, right? So because of that, we are always doing something that's consuming space in our brains, that's occupying our minds. You know, if you're an empath, it's far worse because you're taking in everything around you from society's measure. But at the end of the day, we all have the opportunity to measurably grow. That's the point, you know. And I think that today I wanted to touch on some things that many of us may do at different points, and we don't think about it and how incredible it could be in regards to our brain health. But I think that's something that we don't really acknowledge enough, our brain health. That really should be a thing that we put time and focus into it at throughout the year. I don't think it's a certain time period. It's not like an oil change where you just do it every 6,000, 5,000 miles, you know. If you're doing things that require a lot of engagement from a lot of different directions, and to me, I think that pretty much sums up almost anybody's day to day, because we all have things that we're doing. But I find that when you have had some level of burnout and stress, things of that nature, and they have come to represent and show themselves in our bodies and our health. It's a telltale sign of how we're going about doing things for ourselves, or how we're taking care of ourselves. So I think it's a good thing for us to take a habit of having some brain health aspects, right? And so what's so funny, I had been doing some reading over the weekend, and I have, I'm always just constantly looking and listening to different things. And so I want to say Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's probably one of my main ones that stands out a lot in regards to this discussion, because there's a term called neuroplasticity that refers to the brain's ability to restructure or rewire itself when you're adapting to change. And he's a huge advocate about rewiring ourselves and being able to drive change from our brain, right? And that's where it starts. That's where pretty much any and everything garners in our human form, right? And also in our energy fields. So it only makes sense that maybe sometimes you have to do certain things that can help to stimulate it and rewire, right? And so for many of you, who may not do certain things, some of the things that I may give you insight of how you see people around you doing these things. And it could be something that only you can figure out how much time, effort, and responsibility that you want to put it into your day to day, or your walk of life, right? So cool thing is Healthline. I saw an article with them that was published last year, and I'll put this into the description of the show today too, so you can have reference point of it. But ideally, they mention a few things: playing video games, learning something new, traveling, are just some of the few things. But I'm gonna go over kind of emphasis of what each one of those things. And I know that you like playing video games. Yeah, I can say seeing. I'm gonna use something that's very close to me. An example: my mom is a stroke survivor. She had a stroke, a significant stroke, back in 2013, and it changed her entire world. Very active musician, very active social life, and after that stroke, it just totally debilitated so many things that she was accustomed to doing. But one of the things I know that my mom used to like to do, and it was kind of like her dull space of moments, where she was on the phone, or maybe she was, going over some budgets or something like that, I would catch her playing solitaire. And she likes cards, but she would actually, so she, of course, we adapted to the computer and the internet and our phones. So she would play solitaire on her computer. And my mom is a brainiac when it came to numbers. And so I can only imagine playing solitaire gave her just this ability to keep an assessment of motor coordination. It gave you visual recognition. It helps with memory and reactive times, reasoning and making decisions, problem solving. And when so solitaire kind of is more individual, but let's just say if you're playing on your PlayStation, Xbox, or any of those things, and you may be playing now, especially the gaming world has grown so tremendously. So even if you're home alone, you can go online and play into these chat groups and things of that nature and play against other people. And so a lot of times people may not understand why you may see people who have become well into their adult age still gaming. And this is why. And I think that especially after our experience with COVID, I'm pretty sure ignited a much larger community of gamers or people making those interactive connections of playing with one another. And it helps to stimulate even team participation if you're playing in those type of situations, because you may be playing with somebody else. And video gaming has actually become a tremendous almost like a sport, and it has become a career choice for many people who are professional gamers, but for the conversation in hand, it definitely gives you some way to break up the monotony, especially if you're doing things that may be heavily centered around analytics or math, or you're using a lot of brain power, right? Sometimes this can give you something to alleviate some of that pressure of your brain to have to think on one side, and it can make me shift on the other. I think it's very important that we actively stimulate both sides of our brain. So, if you're a person that's an accountant, for instance, you're doing a lot of analytical thinking, you may not be over here stimulating the creative side as much, right? So doing something like that can help you to possibly open up and enter into another domain. Puzzles. I love puzzles. I always have been a puzzle advocate and lover. Puzzles are a fantastic way, alone or with other people, to take the time to look and reasoning and problem solving. And it helps you to look at things, like as a kid, there was a game called Memory with cards that you would mix all the cards up, and then you have to find the cards to match them up. You remember that? So things like that is a cool way to continue to make your brain work. I played Scrabble over the holiday season, and that was fun, So then you're thinking, intellectually about different words, and also trying to challenge other people to compete against them. So just some healthy measure, guys, right? Secondly, learning a new language. Once again, this is an area I've had to tackle. I used to play professional basketball, lived in France, and one of the first things I did was enrolled in school because I could not speak French. And I'm not the loudmouth for nothing, guys. You know I like to talk. You know I'm going to need to communicate. And my teammates, majority of them were French speaking. Only a few of them spoke English. Some of them spoke no English. My coach was bilingual. He could speak English and speak French fluently. So I challenged myself to step in because here I am. I'm coming into their country. And so I can't expect them to have, the response of me if I'm not trying to at least meet them where they are, because I am coming into their country. So I enrolled in school, and ironically, my friendship bond, the first connections I made once I enrolled in school was with four people who were from Mexico. And they were, Spanish speaking, coming to France to study French. And so we started hanging out. They could speak English. And so we started hanging out, and I would study with them. So the funny thing is I would be trying to learn French with Spanish speaking people. And half the time I was mixing the words up. But the best part about it is it makes you draw attention to conversation. It makes you listen to people. A lot of times we don't realize how we don't listen to one another. Sometimes we're listening to respond and talk and respond, give essence to what somebody else is saying. But I think it helps your motor skills. It helps your emotions. It helps your attention to detail. It challenges you to try to figure out how to communicate if you have communication gaps. I remember at one point our basketball team, our driver, his name was Philip. And Philip was born in France, spoke very, very, very little English, but he was smitten by me, right? And I thought Philip was so cool, and we both would struggle trying to talk to one another. He, he's struggling in English, I'm struggling in French. And I remember one day we were talking, and we would hang out and stuff. He would come and check on me and visit me at my flat. And so one day I was cooking I think it was stir fry or something like that, and he comes in, and I'm cooking the vegetables and stuff, and I'm starting to stir fry the meat, and so I'm drinking some orange juice, and he said, yes, Sonny, is the meat, he was trying to ask me if the meat what I was cooking, and I said, yeah. He said, is this beef, buff? So buff in French is beef in English. He says, the buff, is that buff of a cow or buff of a horse? And when I tell you guys, that man literally was wearing that orange juice, because I was in the course of swallowing the juice when this man asked me, was I, browning beef of a cow or beef of a horse? So let me tell you something, guys. So other countries may not have the same hangups that we do in the U.S., okay? So that means that they may not discriminate when it comes to their animals. So I learned very quickly to take the dictionary with me, because there had been more than one occasion that I had bought animal meat that may not be necessarily digested for humans, but more for the animals, for them to have. And they don't put all of these pasteurized preservatives and stuff like that in them. So thoroughly, when the man asked me, was I making beef of a cow or beef of a horse, I was stagnated, because I was like, oh my God, if I'm over here cooking Mr. Ed, I'm going to have a heart attack. So I quickly had to grab the package, and we made sure that it was buff of a cow and not buff of a horse. But and guys, you know what? Language also goes with one of the other incentive of conversation today, traveling. So if you travel into other countries, do your best to try to know at least basic aspects of communication, greetings, how to ask for certain things, know how to ask for directions, how to introduce yourself. And now I'm not judging nobody, because it's been over 20 years since I lived in France, even though I went back in 2015 and did a study abroad to finish one of my master's degrees. And I was slammed into the reality that I remember that I had not been practicing enough French. So I was struggling again to speak and communicate. Now, the real deal for me, a lot of times people are like this. You can understand better what you're hearing than sometimes what you're saying. And that's something, right? That's something to work off of. But it's important that, which is diving me right into my next talking point, traveling. It helps to enhance your flexibility, your cognitive ability. It inspires you. It helps to create. It enhances activity of creativity. Just being in new surroundings, being able to take in the atmosphere, the visuals that are around you, learning about different cultures. It helps you to become a better communicator. It helps you to become more sensitive to other people. I think it gives you another level of understanding and empathy about different nuances that we may have on a day-to-day basis, and what our thoughts may be in regards to how we're living and what we're open and have access to versus going to other countries where it could be more or greater or less, right? And so when you go into these new places, I think it gives you perspective that, you may not have had prior to. It may make you come back with another resounding thought process about how you may have been, existing in your own surroundings. And it may help to give you an inner shift to do something more. It may make you feel like, here I am complaining about what I don't have versus I go somewhere else and people are full of gratitude about what they do have, and it may be way less than what we're able to get to and have access to, because you know what they say, America's the land of opportunity. A lot of us over here might have a different digestive feeling about that, but you go to some other countries and villages and smaller communities or different areas where there's and this is not uncommon. Us Americans, the hyper consumers, we'll go to other countries and buy up the whole lot. And what we feel that we're getting a bargain on, this is what some people will live off of for months or a year at a time, right? So it's also, I think it's a humbling moment to also sometimes have a different perspective on your personal values. It can grow your friendships. It can enhance your relationships. It could even give essence to restarting, some things inwardly. It's just a healthy way of rewiring your brain, man, and can be ultimately impacting your life. So one of the things I remember when I went to London, one of the habits I started forming was getting on the bus. And if you've ever been to the UK or if you're familiar with the UK, they have double-decker buses. So I get on these buses and I literally, I think for 3 days, I just rode the double-decker bus and just enjoyed and took in all of the different places, did my people watching, just watch people exist in their own moments, not have to figure out where I was going, not driving, but just being a passenger and being able to soak in these different places and different areas. And I figured, taking that public transportation, one, is such a humbling thing. It makes you feel more grounded to me. It soaks you into the area of what you're going into, but it definitely gives you an opportunity to see a whole lot more that maybe you wouldn't see if you were just getting in a rental car or driving in a car and just going to a certain destinations, right? So I definitely find that too. You go to places like New York in the UK, a lot of people are walking. One of the things that really stood out to me, I remember being in certain parts of the country, and I'm gonna talk about myself in this sense because I'm definitely not the size that I was back then. But literally a lot of countries I've been to that have a lot of people walking, you notice they're not carrying as much weight. They're not, they may be living longer because they're not having as many health issues. And so I think it's good you take these healthy walks while you're in these different places, go through neighborhoods. Now, use your common sense as best you can. Here's also a statement that I want to make, a declaration. Make sure you know how to ask people. Sometimes locals would give you insight about areas that maybe are not as safe to travel by yourself. I'm not saying go out there by yourself and be a lone ranger, but be aware of where you are, and if it's safe to do so, then proceed to do as you need to, right? And I think that it also gives you this opportunity to learn different parts of the town. Go to the grocery store, see all of the different foods, soak in the different things that they're growing and sharing. And it's just a whole experience, y'all. I think it just gives you something that could be a huge uplift to your life. In that sense, it's also incorporating exercise. So that's the one thing that, we hear and talk about. We see it as gyms all around us, but the reality is that exercise helps short, long-term physical, emotional, cognitive benefits. And, it also helps to strengthen your brain. So, I've always heard that 30 minutes of cardio will give you a whole day of exercise for your body, and it can increase your brain connectivity, blood flow, cell growth in your brain. It can improve cognitive abilities, learning and memory, your fine motor skills and coordination. And definitely it can help to reduce depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and those things like that. So even the CDC recommends exercising at least 150 minutes weekly. So guys, if you do 30 minutes over 5 days, that'll hit that time period. So I'm talking to myself as I'm telling you that. Ding, ding, ding. And the last one that I'm going to wrap with is music. I love music. I'm a hobbyist DJ myself. And listen to music, the movement, the coordination, the balance, you're learning. Maybe if you live in a different types of genre, you may learn some new words, new speech, gives you audio visual perspective. It helps your mood, man. Your memory, you don't know the subliminal you might be taking in the words and it comes to memory, but it can help to stimulate the entire atmosphere around you. It can bring people together. I always said that music, I said, if you put house music in the middle of a war, I think that it could create peace. So, guys, those are my talking points for today about rewiring our brains. And I'm going to encourage you to do all of them. I think that each and every one of them are capable for all of us to do. There's not a limitation or a certain amount of space that is required for you to check those boxes off. Even if you don't leave the country, traveling to another area, even if you leave out of your city and leave out of your neighborhood, you're seeing something different. So let's not act like we can't do it. Let's do our best to do it, right? And let's do the things that we know necessary to get the element of where we want to be. And so rewiring your brain for the success you desire starts by doing these few things I mentioned. I'm sure you probably have way more, and I would love to hear what you think that you could actually inject into your processes to help rewire your brain for the success you desire. And guys, y'all know, for me, I'm always going to encourage you to do the best things to transform your life. All right, y'all. Peace. You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network.
Here at Wonderland Learning Center, we're located at 288 East Main Street in San Jacinto. We provide a safe and secure learning environment. We are now enrolling 2 to 5-year-olds with our preschool curriculum. We offer before and after school care. Breakfast, lunch, and snacks are provided. We accept all programs. We are open Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Our website is wonderlandlearningcenter.com.
Save the date, April 1st through the 6th, 2025. Save the date, April 1st through the 6th, 2025. Sonny's LouddMouth Comedy presents For the Love of Comedy Spring Comedy Festival is happening right in the Temecula Valley area. We're talking about 6 days, over 10 plus shows, over 30 plus comedians. Woo, I need you to be prepared and be ready. So guess what? I need you to bookmark this website, LouddMouthComedyFestival.com. This is with a comedy lineup, all the announcements, schedule, all the great things that's going on, from networking events, cocktail kickoff, multiple comedy shows. Even we'll have something for the family. I cannot wait for you guys to participate. So I need you to make sure you mark the dates, April 1st through the 6th. Hold the website, LouddMouthComedyFestival.com, and be prepared. More announcements coming soon. All right, y'all. Ciao. Performing comedy is like creating magic. To hear the room explode with laughter is priceless. And to produce comedy is like having a glass of Stella Rosa, the ability to have others wind down with laughter. With LouddMouth Comedy, it isn't just about me, Sonny. It's also the many hardworking comedians that are dedicated to writing and performing night after night, stage after stage, displaying their talents to the world, and we all do it for the love of comedy. Sometimes you have to remember to relax and savor the moment one sip at a time. Cheers. Here's to 13 years of LouddMouth Comedy.
Hello, my name is Takasha Smith. I'm the owner of Takasha's Kitchen, based out of Menifee in the Southern California area. As a chef and caterer, I provide private cooking classes, couples dinners, and private parties. As a female pitmaster, I am able to create a personalized experience for your family reunion gatherings. I create menus based on my clients' needs to have a more personal vibe. You can find Takasha's Kitchen on all social media networks such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and my YouTube channel at Takasha's Kitchen. And that's spelled TACASHAS Kitchen, KITCHEN.
You're listening to the LouddMouth Radio Network.